5 connected crime scenes spanning miles in Lehigh Acres. 4 different suspects, with at least 2 in handcuffs tonight. NBC2 is putting the pieces together on this complex crime spree.
Hopefully that we can get something started on the northwest side of Cape Coral.
There is no beach in northwest Cape Coral. The solution? Well, build one from scratch.
Taking the bill battle to Tallahassee, NBC2's Dave Elias drove 6 hours to bring you the best coverage of the controversial water quality bill being debated today.
Plus, how something as simple as a microwave can cause anxiety for your pet, only at 6. Breaking at 6, a carjacking investigation that started 2 hours away came to an end in North Fort Myers. You are looking at new video of that car and of Lee County deputies locking down a neighborhood and eventually arresting the 2 suspects. Thanks for watching NBC2. I'm Peter Bush.
And I'm Brenna White. Let's waste no time getting right out to NBC2's Megan Myers. She is live at the scene on Horizon Road, just off Bayshore Road in North Fort Myers. Megan, what are deputies saying right now?
Well, they're focusing their attention on that Lincoln SUV that was involved in this incident. It is still in the wooded area behind one of the houses here. We have investigators here on scene. They've been talking to neighbors. They've also been looking inside of that vehicle and taking things into evidence. Now, we do know that this all started in Highlands County, although it all ended here in Lee County. And Highlands County deputies tell us that 2 men walked up to a woman in a parking lot. They were wearing masks. They pulled a gun on her and demanded that she get out of the SUV. A license plate reader alerted deputies in North Fort Myers the SUV was stolen. LCSO deputies chased after them, and they used a pit maneuver to stop the SUV. They say they found a gun inside. Neighbors say they definitely didn't expect to see all of this afternoon.
We heard like a bunch of squealing and sirens. The cars were just driving real fast.
I heard police cars going down Bayshore pretty fast and a helicopter flying. And then I heard it getting closer and closer, and I came outside and they were down the street.
Now, obviously, this is still an active scene here. You can count on NBC2 to stay on scene. We'll bring you any new confirmed details as soon as we get them into our newsroom. I'm reporting live in Lee County. Megan Myers, NBC2.
A Cape Coral woman and a North Fort Myers man barely escaped an armed carjacker who was attacking random drivers on I-75. Troopers say it started when Dale Ferris stopped his truck in the middle of the road in Hillsborough County on Wednesday. A driver collided with the truck. Cape Coral woman tried to help, but that's when he jumped on her hood with a gun. She got away, but troopers say he managed to get into a tractor trailer driven by a 62-year-old man from North Fort Myers. Ferris is even accused of kicking that man and another person in the face to try to get away, but he was arrested.
More breaking news. Look at this new view from above. This shows deputies chasing a car through the streets of Lehigh Acres yesterday. This was big breaking news. The men inside that car were arrested for attacking and robbing a family. Deputies say these 2 guys caused 5 crime scenes in Lehigh. Here's a look at where the chase got started. The scene on 28th Street Southwest, and it came to end here on Gerald Avenue. The suspect's car slammed into a tree. NBC2's Alex Howard is live at that Gerald Avenue scene tonight, working to piece it all together for you.
Well, probably one of the easiest ways to piece together what happened here is just looking at where this crime spree came to an end. In fact, there's even pieces of the car that are left over after deputies used that pit maneuver, eventually ending that crime spree here with a crash right up at the end of Gerald Avenue.
911, what is your emergency?
Well, I need the police, please.
You can hear the fear in that caller's voice yesterday, who told 911 that armed robbers broke into their house on 28th Street around 3 p.m. The homeowner was pistol whipped while his wife, mother-in-law, and children were all inside.
They pointed the gun at me and told me to give them money.
After he refused to give the robbers money and was hit with the gun, deputies say the men took off, robbing a nearby construction site. That's when the sheriff's office helicopter spotted their car.
On the inside lane, eastbound, Aston Bruce, I see you right there.
With deputies hot on their tail, the car cuts through 2 lanes of traffic, hitting several vehicles while trying to get away. But ultimately, it was their choice to go down this dead-end street on Gerald Avenue that helped deputies end that dangerous chase.
He was going to escape. And he got there, and because he doesn't know the town, he got stuck. He was leaving, and the cop took his car and went like this and neutralized him.
Deputies arrested these two men, Willie Bell and Demetrius Beckworth, for armed robbery, home invasion, fleeing police, as well as hit and run.
I've never seen a thing so terrible in my life.
Now, we are told that there were 4 people in total in that car that eventually crashed here on Gerald Avenue, but the Lee County Sheriff's Office says as for the other 2 facing charges, well, that's still under investigation. Reporting live in Lehigh Acres, Alex Howard, NBC2.
A Port Charlotte hardware store is having a hard time with shoplifters. MRT Ace Lawn and Garden Center has had 4 different thefts over the past month and a half. So now they are blasting out these pictures of the thieves on social media, hoping that might make people think twice.
Is it worth it to have that sort of public humiliation, which that doesn't even count for any sort of legitimate punishment that would come from, from being prosecuted?
The store hired a full-time loss prevention staff along with people specifically hired to review security footage. So far, no one's been arrested.
If you live in the northwest part of Cape Coral, hitting the beach is not exactly easy. We just picked a random spot right here at the intersection of Tropicana Parkway and Burnt Store Road. If you live here, you've got 2 options. You can head north to Boga Grande, that's an hour and 15-minute drive, or head south to Fort Myers Beach, which will run you an hour and 5 minutes. Either way, you're spending 2 hours of your day driving at the absolute minimum. That's why people in this part of the Cape want to build themselves a beach, or at least a spot where they can sit on the sand for a few hours without having to leave the city. NBC2's Jennifer Vaglis shows you how city leaders are working to make it happen.
In Cape Coral, you'll find water. You'll find sand, even a road named Beach Parkway. But aside from the Cape Coral Yacht Club, which will soon temporarily close down for renovation, there's no actual beach. So residents like Ken Folman go to Sanibel or Fort Myers Beach.
It's going to be a lot more, and getting to those beaches are taking an hour and 15 minutes now. It's going to take you an hour and 45, 2 hours.
His solution.
Hopefully that we can get something started on the northwest side of Cape Coral for a beach.
Folman suggests this 19-acre property off Colusa Parkway and Northwest 47th Ave. In 2015, City Council discussed transforming it into a public beach along Charlotte Harbor. But current Cape Council member Tom Hayden says it's far too mucky and murky.
But there have been discussions going on about possibly building a boardwalk out to this place with at least a little observation deck.
Soon, you won't have to look far for a beach, with 2 new Go Bond parks coming soon to the Northwest Cape. One of them, right across the street, Crystal Lake Park.
We'll have a small beach, that borders the water. Plus there's a nice observation hill there that's about 40 feet high, 45 feet high.
Another small beach will be added just down the street at Tropicana Park. Construction is set to start on both later this year. In Cape Coral, Jennifer Vaglis, NBC2.
The Cape Coral Yacht Club is staying open a little longer than expected. We have told you about the major renovations that are scheduled, supposed to start in April, but now the city says the project is delayed. The city is still waiting on permits from the Army Corps of Engineers. Officials tell us it may take another 2-3 months, maybe even longer to get those permits, so the club will stay open during that time. If you canceled an event scheduled in the spring, you can rebook it, but if you recently took your boat out of the club's marina, the city says you shouldn't bring it back.
Take a look at this new video out of Satellite Beach. Alec Fasola sent us this video. You can see a massive herd of manatees here gathering in the water. They're huddling together like this because they're cold and they're trying to keep warm. 261 manatees have died already this year across the state. Here's a breakdown locally. Charlotte County says 1 manatee has died there so far from natural causes. Lee County has seen 4 manatees die this year so far. Collier reported 1 death. We're doing slightly better this year than last year. At this point last year, nearly 300 had died.
After pressure from Captains for Clean Water, Florida senators made some pretty big changes to a controversial water bill. Advocates said Senate Bill 2508 could have forced more polluted water down the Caloosahatchee River to our coast. NBC2 Chief Political Reporter Dave Elias drove all the way to Tallahassee to cover today's vote. Dave, are Captains for Clean Water pleased with the final bill that passed today?
Well, the Captains for Clean Water and the Everglades Foundation say they believe that they averted a crisis by forcing state senators to make amendments to a bill they say catered to Big Sugar.
The sugar industry is no longer the top priority of water from Lake Okeechobee. And when that happened, they immediately turned to the Florida Senate.
Florida Everglades Foundation CEO Eric Eichenberg is convinced Big Sugar pushed for Senate Bill 2508, claiming the bill gave priority of Lake O water releases to the sugar industry until clean water advocates demanded change.
The bad provisions of this bill, from our perspective, have been removed.
Senators removed them late last night before more than 100 captains for clean water gathered outside the state capitol demanding those changes.
It is a victory, and it's a victory because thousands of people across the state rallied.
Members of the fishing community poured into the Senate chambers to see the new version of the bill.
There is no doubt in my mind this was a premeditated attack on all the progress we've had over the last 6 years.
The Senate voted unanimously on the amendments, but when it came to passing the bill, the vote was 37-2. Southwest Florida's two senators, Ray Rodriguez and Kathleen Pasadomo, supported the bill with the changes they say provided clarity. Does the bill give any priority to the sugar industry when it comes to water?
The bill does not give any priority to any industry.
One final amendment that was
I think overall we need to keep the pressure, see them through.
The change involves whole irrigation. Now, in the final vote, they still have a big question. Meanwhile, the governor's office last week, that was before the amendments. NBC2.
The tone of it'll make the dogs less.
And that could just be the beginning. How all pet.